So I have Cookie on her 12-foot long hiking line. And she's being very polite. She's not pulling on the leash. Nice, polite, what I call a hiking heel. Hiking heel for me, and listen, what it is for you may be totally different, and that's okay. I like to give her the freedom to kind of sniff around, you know, walk side by, you know, side next to me, get tangled up around a branch like she just did. But I like for her to be able to go back and forth. You know, she can lag a little bit behind, go a little ahead, walk next to me. I want her to enjoy the hike as much as I enjoy the hike. I expect her when I'm walking through town or through a store or on a therapy dog visit, then she has to do a formal heel and she has to fall in next to me and stay next to me. And walking around town, I usually have her on a 6-foot leash. And she can, you know, maybe go a foot or ahead of me or a foot to each side, or lag a little bit, a foot or so behind. But when I tell her heel and, you know, point to my side, then she has to fall in right next to me and stay there. But on a hike, I give her a little bit more leeway. I like for her to have a little bit more fun. So I use a 12-foot line. I do have a 25-foot line that I do sometimes use. And, you know, to give her really good room to roam. Depends on how busy the park is, whether or not I pull it out. I have a 50-foot line, too, that I use for her for, I don't use it for her so much anymore, but I used it in the beginning for really good recall training. And I will someday do a video about how to use a long line to improve your recall when you're out in the woods or out in a field and it's a really highly distracting environment. She's all decked out in her yellow vest today because it is hunting season. And she's wearing a bell. So those of you who want to hike with your dogs, I highly suggest having a bell on their collar and a bright colored vest. And the reason is you are not the only one out there. There are wild animals. There are hikers, mountain bikers, other dogs on or off leash, well-mannered, not well-mannered. So sorry about the break there, but somebody tried to call me while I was videoing. Yeah, it just bugs me. I'm videoing, stop bugging me. But, and it was just like a spam thing. So annoying. Anyways, like I was saying, you're not the only one out there in the woods. I have been out hiking with Cookie and she has been attacked multiple times by dogs off leash that had no business being off leash. And even on leash, one of them specifically should have been wearing a muzzle at all times. Very vicious, punctured her shoulder. It was frightening, frightening attack. So when you go out in the woods, just be aware of the fact that there are other people out there, other animals out there. So make your dog as safe as possible. Put a bell on their collar so people can hear them. That's furred and unfurred people alike. Bright colored vest. And keep in mind that if you have a dog that is under 30 pounds, hawks and eagles can be a problem. And I don't want to hear all the bird experts say, oh, a hawk or eagle will only attack something that's small enough for them to carry off. I'm telling you from experience, that is not true. We had a pet duck. That duck was probably about the same size and weight as a hawk, maybe heavier because he was fatter. And when the duck was sitting only 6 feet away from my husband in our driveway, a hawk came down and attacked the duck. Now, my husband ran up, screamed and yelled at the hawk. The hawk flew away, and thankfully all my duck got was a small scratch on his leg. So you could be out there with your 30-pound dog and think you're safe, but if that eagle is hungry enough, he's going to come down and attack your dog. Maybe not carry it away, but he might take a chunk of them away. So just be aware of that. Keep your little dogs close and safe. So that's my hiking tips for today. Let's get into some other stuff. I really wanted to finish these videos while I was out hiking in the woods, but unfortunately my camera is broken. It doesn't work. And I'm using my phone for these videos, and I ran out of storage space because this is an older phone. It doesn't have a whole lot of storage, and I ran out. So I have to finish this video at home. And you hear all that sound in the background, sirens and cars and stuff. And this is why I really want to do this video out in the woods, because then you have nature sounds, you know, crunching in the snow and birds. It's really a drag. So I apologize for all that noise. And yeah, I could try to do this another day, but sometimes life gets in the way and you just either forget or you don't find the time. And I have the time today, so I have to do it today. So, in continuing my tips about hiking with your dog, remember when you go out hiking with your dog, you know, you should bring a first aid kit that's geared for your dog too. Bring boots for your dog, especially in the winter time. Their feet can get cold, or they can step on some ice. The ice can be sharp, so you want to make sure they have boots, or at least you have, you know, like one of those microfiber towels I keep on in my pocket. If her feet get wet, I can wipe them off and help keep her feet dry so she doesn't get so cold. She could step on ice and cut her paw, so I want to make sure I have a first aid kit or boots to put on her feet. Make sure you bring water for your dog, whether it's wintertime, summertime, whatever. You'd be amazed at the amount of people I see out hiking with their dogs, and they're chugging on water, and their dog is sitting there, you know, panting. And I'm like, well, why don't you give your dog some? Oh, no, he's fine. Oh, okay. Or this is the best one. Oh, I got water for him back at the car. Oh, yeah, but you got your water with you. And why is the dog's water out in the car? Oh, I just let him drink from the stream. Okay, well, gee, there isn't a stream within a mile here, but okay. Bring water for your dog. Anyway, what was the other thing? I don't know. I wrote some things down so I wouldn't forget. First aid kit, towel. Oh yeah, here's the other thing. So, whistles. I can't whistle, right? I tried, can't, nope. Well, sometimes when Cookie's running through the woods and I'm calling her and she's not responding, I'm like, hey, you ignoring me, dog? And one time her and my husband were actually off together, and they were goofing off and I continued to hike. And I yelled to them and neither one of them responded. You know, so I just kind of stood there and waited. And then, you know, after a few minutes, my husband came walking up and I said, well, I yelled to you. He goes, I didn't hear you. I'm like, wait a minute. Believe me, I got a big mouth, okay? You couldn't hear me? Well, I did some research on this, and it turns out that the human voice degrades much quicker than sounds do out in the woods. Something about our voice, it just doesn't carry as far as sounds like a whistle or a bird call out in the woods. And I thought, wow, maybe those few times when the woods are really thick and I'm calling, maybe she's not hearing me, or she's hearing me but can't discern that it's me. I know their hearing is great, but the study actually that I was reading actually had to do with dogs out in the woods and whether or not they were responding to human voices. I couldn't provide a link to that because I don't remember where I saw it, and I tried searching for it again so I could provide a link, and I can't find it now. But it makes sense, because like I said, when I'm yelling at my husband, he's not hearing me. And no remarks about selective hearing between husbands and wives, because my husband and I, it's not like that. So I bought some whistles. I was buying some fabric and other supplies from a company called Ripstop by the Roll. And they had this whistle package where you got like 12 whistles for like $3.50 or something like that. And I go, well, they're cheap, and and it's 12 of them, so I could attach one to like every backpack, every leash, whatever, because I'm that kind of person. So I got them, and these whistles are great. They're small, they're lightweight, and they are so high-pitched, like a real high-pitched whistle. And I'm telling you, like, you can hear them from really far away. So it's a really great idea. So if I call her in the woods and I know she, you know, it's the thick underbrush or whatever, I give a little toot on the whistle and here she comes. So maybe there's something to it. I know the bell I picked for her for running through the woods when we mountain bike. I originally had a bell that had kind of like a deeper tone and I couldn't hear it. So I found another bell, a hunting bell, that has a very high-pitched tone, and I can hear that. I can hear it. So, you know, maybe there's some truth to it. Maybe it depends on the tone or whatever. But anyway, whistle in the woods, good stuff. When you're hiking, you should always have a whistle for first aid anyway, you know, in case something happens to you. You know, you whistle for help. But anyway, have fun, be blessed, go out in the woods, but bring some first aid and bring some water for your dog, and think about their cold feet. You know, you bring a little towel so you can wipe their belly off and their belly gets wet, rather than have it turn to ice. Wipe it off, dry it off. Okay, well, have a nice day, be blessed, and go play with your dog.